Hello, this video is mostly about the G major scale, but before I get to that, I'm going to talk about sharp and flat. So when you watch this video, please make sure you have the following two items with you. One is the handout on sharp and flat that was in the folder due September 14th. So that's from our latest folder. The other handout I want you to have right now is the scales chart from the folder September 7. Okay, the scale chart especially, you are going to need it every week, so I would print out or I would download on the computer or your tablet so that you can look at it. It will be a little cumbersome for you to have to go to Blackboard every time you need it, which is every week. Okay, so again, the handout on sharp and flat is in our latest folder, due September 14th folder, and the scales chart is in the due September 7th folder, but that one I want you to print out. Now let's review sharp and flat very quickly. So here's a C, right? So sharp is 1/2 step to your right. Half step means the closest distance on the keyboard. So you might think D is closest to the C, but you see this black key is butting in between C and D, so this is considered closer to C than this. So C sharp would be, so sharp being 1/2 step to your right, C sharp would be here. Okay, so C here, C sharp here, C here. Flat is the other way. Flat is a 1/2 step to your left. Again, a 1/2 step is the closest key. So yeah, it's here. C flat is here. Okay, so a flatted key or a sharped key, not necessarily a black key. Let's do here. This is A here. A sharp is here. A flat is to your left here. Okay, so you notice that A flat, and then this is G, so this is A, right? A flat here. This is a G. G sharp would be the same thing. Again, G sharp, A flat is the same thing on the keyboard. Theoretically, these two mean different things, but we don't get to talk about that. So for our purpose, it's completely okay to think of G sharp and A flat as the same thing. Now, let's go over the scale together. So our scale together is G major. So G major is in page 2. Okay, so let's do this step by step. What you have to do for G major is not different from what you had to do with the C major. Remember, you had to, again, anytime you learn a scale, remember you learn the notes right and then the fingering right. Okay, fingering is a set of numbers that goes with each note. So G major, right hand, G gets 1, A gets 2, B gets 3. I think you get the idea. So just like in my previous video on C major, I cannot show you the paper here in my hand at the same time. So yeah, I have to ask you to look at the paper in your hand and then kind of watch the video at the same time. So G gets 1. Again, 1 is your thumb, 5 is your pinky for both hands. G gets 1. Okay, A gets 2, B gets 3, and when you get to C, tuck in your thumb like this. So C gets 1, D gets 2, E gets 3, F sharp is here, so F is here, right? So instead of F, play F sharp with 4, G gets 5, G gets 5 again, and you're going back. F sharp gets 4, E gets 3, D gets 2, C gets 1, and then B gets 3 here, and back. Okay, so let's do left hand together. Let me up the volume. Okay, so you can pick any G, but I'm just picking the G that's on my phone screen. So G is here. G gets 5, right? Remember, every scale goes high first and back to low. So just because you're doing your left hand, it doesn't mean you go low first and come back. Okay, always the motion is toward your right and toward your left. So G gets 5, A gets 4, B gets 3, C gets 2, D gets 1. Then when you get to E, you have to kind of use your thumb as your pivoting point, sorry, and then go over the E. I'm sorry. So when you get here, your third finger go over your thumb like this, go over to E, and then this F sharp here, okay, and G gets 1, right? Do you see the? So first of all, make sure you're looking at LH, left hand. You see 1 under G, right? So 1, your thumb. Let's go back. F gets 2, E gets 3, and when you get here, make sure you don't just keep going with the ring finger on D. Why? Because D, you see 1, so you have to tuck your finger like this, and then like that. So yeah, whenever you have to switch from another finger to your thumb, make sure it's tucked in like this. And then this part I stumbled while I was talking, so I have to do this again. Whenever you have to, let's say G major left hand, you went like this, right? And then your hand has to kind of go over your thumb like this. So your hand here, so you kind of go like this instead of moving the whole hand, because your thumb is still playing the keys. So move over like this, like that. And then just one more point. I've seen some of your C major scales and they are really good. I appreciate that. Some of you, and also some of you are very fluent, and that's very impressive. But in terms of training your hand to learn how to move your hand over your thumb or tuck your finger in, it's sometimes better to actually practice slowly, so that you can kind of exaggerate the motion. Yeah? Because if you play fast, you're kind of shifting the whole hand. Yeah? So also when you practice, make sure your fingers are kind of roundish, not like this. You don't have to poke so strong, but make sure they are nice and round. So if you practice slow, you can kind of feel your finger moving into your key nicely. And you can kind of let the finger memorize how that should feel like. I guess so. Yeah, thank you guys.